So Brian Lewis, let me pull up the little tweet or screenshot of the tweet that was put out by NBA Central. Brian Lewis of the New York Post put out a report saying that yes, the Brooklyn Nets are allegedly interested in Giannis Antetokounmpo. I mean, who wouldn't be? Even though you guys know, I do think Giannis. I don't know. I could be wrong here, but just because his game's uber reliant on athleticism, that once that starts to slip, it won't be a graceful age. However, I do believe, as I need to flip my James Bond calendar because it's the first day of April. By the way, coolest thing I've bought. Either way, the whole thought and what I've actually been told by one well-connected media source is I know the Lakers are allegedly a monitor. I know this is crazy, and this is not me making this up because I don't care to make things up like this. But I was told by one source that the Lakers' dream scenario, and I don't know if this is the way I envision, is they're hopeful that they can give the Dame and Giannis union duo one more year. Worst case scenario is that it blows up this offseason. I don't think that's happening. I think they'll give it a good 3 years before it all blows up. Because the other thing is there's just really no cap space. It's really hard to maneuver this year, and everything works out for big moves and big swings to happen in 2026. Just how the people's cap payrolls are working out. Either way, regardless of that, this year or next year, Brooklyn's going to have money. Look, I think in a dream world, Brooklyn does this. I don't know if it's going to really be possible. Either way, let's just round up what I was saying is Lakers want Luka and Giannis together. That's what they want. Giannis wants to win another title and wants to be able to just have a career that to be remembered. And obviously, if you've been watching Milwaukee, I think that they've been. I mean, obviously now Dame being with a deep vein thrombosis, it doesn't help, but they have been improving under Doc Rivers. Actually, for the first time in a while, Doc Rivers. It's like Doc Rivers kind of has improved as a coach. Though Kyle Kuzma, dude, something happened this offseason. I mean, he's always done these things in Washington, but you didn't think they were going to carry over to Milwaukee, which is just kind of the surprising part in all this. But Brooklyn, what would be the situation you would look at if they were trying to truly get Giannis? Let's talk about this in a vacuum of this offseason and next offseason. We'll do quickly because the easiest one is to talk about this offseason because it's the least likely to happen unless they're a first round exit. Everything blows up. Dame and Giannis both get traded. The whole thing gets scrapped and they do a rebuild, which there's a very, very small chance of that happening, but it's still something that could happen if they were to just lose in the first round and it just seems like a hopeless situation. Dame asks out, Giannis asks out, and then they let our boys Bobby Portis Bobby Portis will probably decline his option. Pat will probably pick it up. Kevin will decline his. You already have Mr. Brook Lopez as a free agent, Torian Prince and Gary Trent and Jericho Sims. And yeah, Kyle Kuzma is on the books for 21.8 next year, and Giannis is on the book for 57.6, 58.5 for Dame. So if we just in this hypothetical situation said, and Giannis is under the books through the 27 season, and then in 27-28, he has a player option, which I think he would pick up at that point because I don't know if he would get an extension worth that much. Now, Brooklyn. The easiest thing I would see in this scenario is you would build a package this offseason around Nick Claxton because Brook's leaving. You would say, here, Milwaukee, we'll build a deal around Nick Claxton and maybe Noah Clowney, which would be $30 million. And then because they can take back a bunch of money, a deal would be built around that. And I just don't think that's likely. With that being said, the more likely thing is in 2026, I'm done entertaining this offseason. It would have to be a doomsday scenario. I assume down the road, if the Nets have a more flushed out roster, it could be a combination of Claxton, Clowney, or Claxton. I really think at this point, if you were bringing Giannis, you can't have Clowney on the team anymore because they would just like hamper each other's development. And then Claxton, a spacing issue. You just want a different big. Do you throw in Cam Johnson? I would assume you'd want to keep Cam Johnson because he fits there, but he's more of a four. So that's the other problem you run into when you look at it like that. But yeah, I think there's a situation here that could lend itself to being one that could bode, it's not like obviously they're in a total doomsday scenario. I think they have obviously a good structure. Sean Marks is a good GM. I like Sean Marks. I think Sean Marks is somebody that people wrongly just dish on. And I think it's because of the whole, oh, they went and got James Harden and Kyrie and Kevin Durant and they didn't win a championship. Yeah, it sucks. But the fact that they were able to do that is impressive. And this is why you should never count the Nets out because of the things they have done in the past like that. And that's where I just give credit to Sean Marks and why we're even talking about this, because for other teams I wouldn't really talk about this as it'd be just a non-starter, as I wouldn't believe that it would be something that would happen. But because they've been able to land big fishes like this before, I think it's actually only fair if we mention them, because not every team is able to do that. And that's where, as I've said before, I actually tip my hat and, understand that they're playing chess while others are kind of just playing checkers. And I think they do a good job. Plus, it's Brooklyn, still New York, and it seems like it's a place that people enjoy and have, respect for. So to me, that's where I also want to point out the situation is that it's a destination, regardless of what you guys think that it might be the Knicks' like ugly cousin or whatever you want to call it. It's still a place that it's in the mecca of basketball. It's a badass stadium. And yeah, to me, I just think it'd be wrong for us not to think that they're dark horses in this situation in terms of being a team that could shock people and bring them. Because when the Nets landed our boy Durant and Kyrie, did you think it was going to happen? No, most people didn't think it was going to happen, but it did. And yeah, so that's just where we're going to leave today's video. I want to hear your guys' thoughts if you guys agree with me on this one. But I think we just have to at least give them their flowers. Ciao.